Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're talking about some classics returning. This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. So I know for myself, and probably a lot of people out there in the hobby, that I really only care about the stuff that's relevant to me. And I don't actually play Warhammer Underworlds, so normally this wouldn't really be relevant to me. But I find it rather intriguing, and I think it reflects on something that we can expect to see in the future. So let me know if you feel the same way. So before we jump into the actual article, what I'm talking about is Mollog's Mob. This warband has been out of print for a while now and really hard to get, so the price has gone through the roof, at least in the United States. And then we have seen it actually reprinted in the UK and I believe Europe as well in one of the magazine subscriptions. So a lot of people have been picking it up there and then shipping it to the United States and making up the difference. And that's what efficient markets are all about. But Games Workshop has been slowly but surely realizing that people actually want old stuff that's out of print. And because a lot of these molds are timeless, they've been actually going out of their way to do made to order reprint runs or things like this where they bring back old kits in a different form or even just as a reprint. But I think that reflects on what we can expect going into the future. And suddenly those old, rare, hard to get kits don't seem so out of reach. And we recently saw it with the Green Knight. That's an awesome model that came out 20 years ago for Warhammer Fantasy Battles. And now it's returning in the old world. And it was one of those classics out there that was easily selling for $100 in new condition. Or anywhere from $50 to $80 if you just had a rough one but had all the pieces, whether it was stripped or needed stripped. And now we're seeing return for $40 from Games Workshop in the original metal form. And again, with Mollog's Mob, when this first came out, it was $40. With the cards and all the stuff and everything to go along with it. And it's been selling recently for over 100 because it was just hard to get and the models are super cool, which is the only reason I wanted it. I have no interest in playing Warhammer Underworlds, but the models are super cool. I definitely like the troll, the little bat squig, all that stuff. And we have to remember that there's not only people out there that buy stuff because of the rules, because they want to play those models, but also a lot of the people who buy them are specifically just buying them because they're cool and they want to paint them up. So that being said, very cool to see Games Workshop recognizing that people want some of these old models that have been hard to get or become hard to get and bringing them back in made to order or reprints or different forms. And I think that brings a little bit of hope to some of the stuff that's been discontinued over the years, that may be coming back too. And I'm still waiting on my Bastions and all that stuff that got reprinted, including the Wall of Martyrs and stuff like that. I purchased a bunch of stuff. Obviously, none of it has come yet. But on average, they say 180 days, which is 6 months. So probably coming sometime in the near future. And hopefully once that all ships out, they're just going to put something else on that list, some old terrain. Maybe something from Warhammer Fantasy, recognizing that people might want it for the old world. And we'll be able to get some more of these hard to reach kits. But that being said, very, very cool. Let me know what you think about that down below. But in the meantime, we'll go ahead and jump into this article. Warhammer Underworlds continues to evolve, with balanced status slates and new warbands shaking up the competitive landscape. But it's not just the new hotness that gets to compete. 4 classic warbands, which have been absent for a while, are returning to the fray in one awesome pack. Alright, so 4 awesome warbands returning in one pack. So this one obviously is the super rare one, the one that everybody's after, but some of these other ones have gotten hard to get as well. Rivals of the Mirrored City is a new kind of expansion. It updates a quarrelsome quartet of 4 early days of Warhammer Underworlds and updated rules and new rivals deck each. Every warband offers a different gameplay experience, making this a great addition to an experienced players collection and the ideal next step for new players who've used the easy-to-learn Rivals format to introduce friends to the game. As one of 2 warbands in the box who can't cast spells, the Thorns of the Briar Queen are a flexible warband that can adapt to situations with a diverse set of tools. With 7 fighters, they can surround and overwhelm numerically inferior opponents, ignoring lethal hexes and block spaces to trick their way to superior board control. If managing a whole warband of fighters sounds like work, you must just want to clobber things as hard as possible. Mollog's Mob offers a unique style of game you won't find in any other warband. The entire game plan is centered along lumbering Denkold Troggoth Mollog the Mighty, who is attended by a diminutive hype team of squigs who spend all their effort to support him. Alright, so here we have Thorns of the Briar Queen. So very, very cool models, super unique, and like they said, one of the larger warbands in the game. And then here's Mollog's Mob, and this is what everybody's after, the Denkold Troggoth. And obviously you could use this individual model in Warhammer Age of Sigmar as a Denkold Troggoth. And if you look at the prices, I want to say the actual Troggoth is $80 on his own right now. So even if you don't love this sculpt, even if you're not specifically after it for that reason, or some of the other models in the kit. Just the fact that, like, you know, this whole set was 40 bucks and included what amounted to an alternatively $80 model made this set worth somewhere in between like that $40 and $80. And then once it became rare, drove it up even higher than the actual Troggoth, which was the main reason people were initially buying it, other than obviously it's a super cool model. So it's like an interesting dynamic between like saving money initially, then the models being super cool, and then eventually becoming rare. But very cool regardless to see them returning. Now a quick message from today's sponsor. CMO Games has been selling Games Workshop products online for over 20 years. They carry the full line of Games Workshop products, including Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, Blood Bowl, paint tools, and more. Almost all Games Workshop products are priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games takes pre-orders for most Games Workshop products released at their earliest date possible. 12:01 a.m. on Saturday, they go live. Most of these pre-order products are also priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games offer free shipping in the US 48 with an order of $50 or more. Their customer service is top-notch and they ship most orders within 24 hours. Visit CMOGames.com using the affiliate link in the description and let them know that you heard about CMO Games from Warhammer Man. Now, back to the video. Zarbag's Gitz are all about bodies and board control. Their warband stacks a massive 9 fighters. And even though they're on the weaker side individually, the sheer weight of grots is enough to bury other warbands under a hollering green tide. Spiteclaw's Storm are vicious Skaven warriors who prefer quality over quantity, at least compared to Zarbag's Gitz. They won't stand up against the tougher bruisers in the Underworlds, but do have the ability to return slain fighters to the field, letting them play aggressively and capture an early advantage before heavier hitters can wind up their haymakers. All of the cards featured in this set have gone through a careful process of modernization to keep the original flavor of the warbands intact while updating their gameplay for the current season of Warhammer Underworlds. Their previous cards are all, nevertheless, still valid in relic format, while the new decks can be combined with the Underworld's Rivals deck to vastly expand their options in Nemesis format. So again, very cool. Obviously, we see a very large warband right here. I want to say this is the biggest one with 9 fighters. And again, just some super cool sculpts. We got the cool little like netter alternative, some nice squigs, just very, very nice models here. And then again, the Skaven, some like really cool models right here. Obviously, we're expecting a Skaven range refresh, or at least hoping for one. But obviously, some of the sets that came out for the Underworlds Warbands have really made like the old Skaven models look super dated and just show off like some of the potential that could come. And then obviously the cool like sewer themed bases are really nice as well. So very, very cool, very exciting. Definitely awesome to see these warbands returning, whether you're an Underworlds player or you're just after the models, or even if you're not interested in any of the warbands or the actual models themselves. Just the idea that Games Workshop recognizes they have the ability to bring back old kits, whether it's like a reprint big set, a made to order run, or just bringing them back into the range completely. Just very, very awesome to see. And I think gives hope for people that are newer to the game or perhaps missed out on something back in the day. So let me know if you're as excited to see this as I am. Let me know if you're going to be picking any of these up, particularly if you play Warhammer Underworlds or if you're just after some of these models. Always like to hear back from you guys in the comments. Special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the video. Check out the link in the description to save 15% on Games Workshop products. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm definitely going to be picking this up to get that Mollog's mob. And I'm out of here.